We'll go through the agenda, we'll call each as they are listed on the agenda. After the applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, and property owners. That being said, I think the first thing we'll do is have our roll call. And I'll start to my far left.
Vanessa Curran.
Michael Spillane.
Peter Wilson.
David Field, staff.
Chelsea King.
Aaron Henry, staff.
Okay. First on the agenda is an emergency certification for 16 Brentwood Circle. Could staff give us a little background on that, please?
Yeah, there's not much more to say other than what it says on the agenda. There were 2 juvenile beavers that were beginning to construct a dam behind 16 Brentwood Circle. This has happened in the past, and what essentially happens is the water starts backing up towards Endicott Park, towards behind the animal barn and near the hay barn. It also starts backing up into these yards and could affect the stormwater system. So we issued an emergency order to essentially take the dam down. It wasn't very big, but it was already beginning to back water up. So we've taken care of it. We just need a signature from you folks saying that you officially issued the emergency certificate.
I was at
And why
Endicott
is it
the other
an
day. I
emergency?
was wondering what that was.
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah.
it an emergency?
Every time it rains, essentially, it just continues to back up, and the longer it runs, the more it backs up, and eventually it'll flood out the barn.
This has happened over there before,
The reason
right?
I'm asking, because the last, when Sue was here and we went out to look at an emergency, there didn't seem to be one.
For Brentwood Circle?
No,
No.
another location up, actually, up by Summer.
Had they already broken up the structure, the beaver structure?
Yeah.
So if it's already gone, then you wouldn't have necessarily seen it. So this one they did already take down.
Yeah.
Okay,
So what happens next? We're doing this after the fact, so to speak?
There's a high likelihood that they'll come back. There's not much you can do to stop.
Okay, well, what's gonna happen? You're gonna relocate the beavers? What happens?
We've tried relocation in the past. I do not believe these ones were relocated.
So what'll happen? They'll just build another one?
Not those
else?
particular beavers.
I think, I saw somewhere they were going to be trapped and relocated. Didn't I see that on the order?
Was trapping.
They were
Sounds
trapped.
like no.
Unmechanized
trapping of
breaching.
beavers. They were trapped? And euthanized, or?
I believe that was the case.
Yeah.
How do you get noticed on that? Who notices you on that?
This one was the Department of Public Works because of the stormwater. Their systems were down there, so.
Okay.
And going forward, there's nothing that can be done to make it a less desirable habitat for them?
That's kind of outside of my wheelhouse. I can certainly check into preventative measures.
Okay, any other questions?
I just want, what were they damming up, just like a little stream?
Surprisingly, yeah, it was actually where the entire wetland kind of narrowed down
they
to
jumped
right
the
before it
gun
gets
on this.
into a culvert. And it was really a fairly small mound, but even that little bit already started backing it up. And these were only small beavers. I mean, had it been a whole family in a very large dam, it could have been pretty serious.
Yeah, it would have been
I
an
think we have a
emergency.
sewer trunk, there's a sewer trunk line, right? Isn't there a large
Yeah.
sewer main that's in that area?
Yeah.
So DPW was,
So we don't normally, when we go out and look at these, it's sort of like when that wall behind Sam and Joe's, but we had to declare an emergency, but we had to go look, or someone would give us information, usually to the chairman. No?
That's well
Like I
before
said,
my
I've
time.
already seen it at
Yeah.
Endicott Park.
Yeah.
It was unusually backed up. in
You
the,
saw it?
Yeah.
Oh.
They had cleared
Good
out the
enough for
area, and I
me.
was like, oh, why are all the chickens inside? Because it's the hay barn, and then there's a children's barnyard
Yeah.
with all the animals that roam around, and they were not outside.
Right. Do we need to make a motion on this, or do we?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion that we authorize the emergency certificate.
I make a motion that we authorize the emergency certification and sign whatever documents required to do so.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, go right down the dam. Next up, a request for certificate of compliance for 34 Purchase Street, DEP file number 14-1315. Who's here for the applicant?
Good evening, Bob Griffin of Griffin Engineering for Beverly. The commission issued its order of conditions for this site last January. It involved a building addition on the back of an existing house. Basically, in the process of the building addition, converting it from single-family use to two-family condominium sort of setup now. And you may recall this site was noticeable because the backyard back by the river had a lot of trash.
Yeah,
debris.
needed a lot of cleanup.
It certainly did. And Mr. Sandero of 10JG Properties was very faithful to the original plan and building out the building addition. It's now done. It's all reseeded. The units have been sold. The driveway's paved. The backyard's been reseeded. He did a very good job really cleaning all the trash out of the woods between the backyard and the river. He installed the fence that was required, a no disturb zone fence with no disturb markers on it. He also planted some maple trees in the back here as required by the order of conditions.
Have you gone out and seen it? You're satisfied, yeah?
Has staff been out
Has
there to
staff
see it?
been out too? Yeah.
Yep.
And the markers are in?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many?
6.
6?
And just tell me which lines are which on your drawing?
Okay, so the Crane River's back here. This is the 100-foot sort of riparian zone to the mean high water line. This is the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands that run along the river. And this is the 200-foot riverfront zone. So basically, everything from the 200-foot line to the street is out of the commission's jurisdiction. The building addition, of course, is in it. The backyard is in it. The dry wells are in it.
So dry wells were installed to handle roof runoff?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the improvements are between the 100-foot buffer zone and the 200-foot line.
And I think the largest improvement we wanted to see was to clean up that trash.
Yeah, he's done a number of projects in town. He's been doing a good job. Yeah. Smaller projects too, yeah.
Okay, any questions for anyone? Chelsea? Aaron?
No, I
Vanessa,
don't
no?
have any.
Mike? No?
No?
Okay, do we have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance?
Yeah, I move that we issue a certificate of compliance for 34 Purchase Street, DEP file number 14-1315.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You call her Aaron, that's funny.
I think he was talking to Aaron.
Oh, you were?
Thank you very much.
Oh, Aaron. Sorry.
It's okay.
Aaron.
Thank Aaron. Thank Aaron backwards.
Yeah, I wish.
Next up is a request for certificate of compliance for 3 Holly Lane, DEP file number 14-1289. Who's here for the applicant?
Cameron, and this is Mike Cameron Group, located at 668 Danvers. So this, we have 2 COCs that are nearly identical. This is the first one, 3 Holly Lane.
Address number 3, lot 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Address 3 lot 6. So essentially, we're here to request certificate of compliance, single-family house was constructed in substantial compliance with the approved plan. A few differences were noted on the letter that accompanied this request. So there's a small landscape wall that was added, east side of the dwelling, air conditioning pad added, deck was, the size was increased slightly, and stairs were added to access the backyard. Driveway was modified slightly, and underground propane tank was installed on the east side of the dwelling. So these are a few things that weren't necessarily shown on the approved plans, but they were shown.
Which lot on the map are we looking at?
So this one is 3 Holly Lane, lot 6, so this is.
Down there in
this lot here.
the lower right.
So the first on the right as you go up to the
Second on the right, technically.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 3, number 3?
Looking at number 3, lot number 6, and the plan that was submitted is just the 11 by 17 as-built plan. Exactly. This is just the subdivision.
One quick question. There's the drain in the driveway, does that go to a dry well, or where's the
That is
outlet?
the driveway, yes, exactly.
So it comes off the roof and goes into that dry well that's in the driveway.
Okay. Has, had someone been out to?
Yep, I went out to both, number 3, lot 6, and number 5, lot 5.
Okay. The one question I have, I recall that when we gave an order of conditions, we had some kind of language in there about the limited use of fertilizer. Is that part of the order of conditions?
I think that's standard, isn't it?
It's, yeah, it would be part of the O and M going forward.
And has the new owner agreed to that, or was that brought up at the transfer to the property?
I can't say for sure, but those documents run with the title of the property, so
Yeah.
you can.
How does that read?
I do not have it directly in front of me. I think it's part of your general conditions, I
You
believe.
mean on all projects?
I believe so, yeah, it's
I remember I
limited.
brought that up,
That was
and
a- you brought
Scott
it up
said
as
that
a-
that would be not a problem. So, I mean, that's.
There's
that's
still,
the big
they would
problem
still
with
be subject
fertilizer.
to it going forward. The new owners, whatever the property is
Runs
subsequently
with the
transferred
land,
to,
of
yeah.
course.
Yeah.
It's probably not.
But it
binding.
was
I
just,
think we
you
want
wanted to
that
make
in.
sure it was included. Was it something other than the general condition that you wanted, Peter? Do you remember?
I don't remember it as being a general condition. I remember asking Scott if that was feasible, and he said yes.
Yeah.
I remember asking about that on a few different projects and being told it was standard. I mean, I'd like to verify that, though.
So what is it what is standard? What are we saying when we say it's standard? That they.
That all projects that get in
Yeah, but what
order
are
of
we saying
conditions
they
is
can't-
that there's
they
limited
can't-
use of
What are we saying
fertilizer.
they can't do?
can't
But just,
use-
when you bore the wetlands, the runoff.
Oh, no, I know, but are we
are
saying, are we saying specifically that you can't use certain fertilizers,
No, I think we just were asking them to limit their use
Yeah.
of fertilizers,
which is
which is.
subjective?
Exactly. But just, that's,
We ought to maybe tighten that up a little.
if we can,
Yeah,
or maybe we're gonna have another opportunity.
yeah, maybe we will, yeah, okay.
Another
We just
workshop
get-
would be
We just
useful.
get smarter.
There is a note, number 72 and 73 in your generals, that's about pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and then there's a separate one for rock salts and de-icing.
What's it say about it?
Shall not be used within 100 feet of the wetlands, or within the riverfront area, and within bordering land subject to flooding.
Cool.
That's something you can enforce, so.
Yep.
So it
What
wouldn't
did
be
it say about
applied within
landscaping?
100, David, it wouldn't be applied within 100 feet, is that right?
That's what this says, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fertilizers though specifically, right? Unless I just missed it.
Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers.
Oh,
So
I
it's
missed
got-
that.
it's got-
Missed that, sorry.
Everything.
Okay. Just from the photos, it seems like there's a lot of sand in the driveway.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Is it just because the neighborhood's still?
When were these photos taken? When were these taken? Recent?
Yes, I'd say exactly when the as-built survey was performed, but it would be relatively recent, probably a month or so.
Is this sufficient? In which we, okay.
Yeah, I just,
All that sand
As,
going in that
the
drain.
notes on the plan say, as-built field survey completed in August.
Yeah.
Right, so I think you're exactly right, that's probably the case. They swept it, but it's residual fine particles. I would say, I wouldn't say it's sand, probably residual really fine stuff that just got.
Mm.
What's that?
and we do not require
Sweep the road a couple of
wetlands
times during
signs
the project 'cause it got
on this?
dusty, but
Okay.
in the order of
Medallions.
conditions. No,
The conservation.
So that's probably not accurate to how it is now,
Don't believe
right?
markers were specified.
Okay,
okay.
and that's their driveway.
right.
It's right on top of it here.
And do they plan to build a fence on the
Is there
the back
driveway within
border
the,
of the yard?
like, is that the 100-foot, or, yeah, limit of 100-foot, so that,
This particular
that like
one,
barely
I'm
gets
not
into
certain
it,
about a fence.
I see.
The next one
We,
actually,
when we
they
made
did
them,
build
we
an
were seeing
outdoor survey,
sediment
which was
kind of coming down the hill,
Okay.
but they did
Yeah,
it,
I know
they've
that's a
been pretty
doesn't
responsible,
really allow for
Okay.
for
but
urban
that's
service.
just their
It's
driveway.
Right, now where is the
Right.
100-foot line?
This is the only part that comes under our jurisdiction anyway.
Right, but
Kind
that's
of
the,
goes through the dwelling, right? through here.
That's that.
yeah, that's all
Okay.
that's saying.
So if we go back to
Hmm.
this fertilizer thing,
Mhm.
they're not allowed to use fertilizer in the backyard.
That would be correct.
Do they-
Or oftentimes we specify like an organic, slow-release type of fertilizer that wouldn't be as mobile.
I don't know how we would
Rainwater.
monitor that, Peter. How would we monitor
I
that?
just think the homeowner should know that.
They know, yeah.
Okay, and one other question, I'm not sure if it applies here or not, but we'd had a neighbor in at one of these hearings on this project with some pretty strong complaints about floodwater. Has he been taken care of? I think it was all related to the system hadn't been fully, for lack of a better word, turned on yet, because the storm drains were still covered.
Right. I
Does
think,
anyone remember that?
I think so, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so- Go
I was
for
gonna
it.
say, I think, once DPW, I mean, we did have, I think maybe twice over the build of the road, we had, them sweep the street a little bit, cause there was some sediment, but for the most part, the site's been stabilized pretty well for a while. We reached a point, cause that family that you're mentioning is kind of in the low spot, they're kind of between a rock and a hard place when it comes to the water, and once we felt the site was stabilized, we pulled the bags from the catch basins in Locust Street, to allow that to get into the stormwater system, because it was that was complicating it, because the stormwater was bypassing the drainage system and hitting their yard, and then trying to find the stream over land.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
once we felt the site was stabilized, we were monitoring that for probably 2 or 3 months before we felt the site was stabilized, because we knew we needed to get the bag out to give them a little bit of relief there, but at that time, it wasn't possible, but we eventually did get to a point where we let the silt sacks out of the catch basins in Locust, and I don't think we've heard from them on this issue since.
Not since that time.
Okay.
Not
good.
here, are they?
I
No?
think
No.
when that came up, Scott was back here for some kind of revision on the embankment,
There was some work done to the bottom of the slope.
and is that to everyone's satisfaction? That the embankment is stable?
Yeah, staff was satisfied with the stabilization that happened. I think what the case was, there was a very large rain event that happened probably at the worst possible time. It was right before anything was stabilized, so the slope started coming down, but,
Mhm.
yeah, right where it drops off at the back.
How is that stabilized?
They have seed mix that you all specified, I forget the actual name of what's
Oh,
in the
okay, so
mix,
it's
but, yeah,
gonna
it's
be natural.
specifically designed in theory to hold up that bank. But when that rain hit, it was, at best, just started to sprout, so it was not a good time.
Okay.
They've since gone back, dug out the bottom of the slope to actually allow the stormwater to get to the wetland where it's supposed to be going in the first place.
Hey, David, I see on the plan, underground propane tanks, that's a requirement now?
It's not a requirement.
But it's allowed. I remember when they used to put the oil tanks underground, then everybody had to dig them up if they were a problem.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the size of tank, and I think right now, at a certain gallon size, that those people will tell you they're gonna put it in a side yard somewhere, but if you get, you can still get the small ones that they kinda anchor to the side of the house, like an AC unit or something like that, but I'm guessing that was a homeowner thing, and that obviously those go through the building office and the gas and plumbing inspector. So I'm assuming that
They get
that's,
signed off through the.
yeah,
Through
so
the
I,
building process, yeah.
I think it's different animals too. I mean, propane's gonna turn to a gas as soon as it gets unpressurized. Okay, any other questions from anybody?
Oh, someone,
Someone in the audience? Just 1 second, sir. Are we all set on the
yeah,
board?
yep.
Bill Bradstreet, town meeting member, precinct 1, 18 Essex Street. When you bury a propane tank, seems to me you have to have access for the explosion to go up rather than out. If you're gonna bury it, are you literally going to bury it? Is it gonna be in a chamber that if there's an accident, it goes up and not out? I mean, burying to me is burying, but with propane, I would think there'd be something other than just burying involved.
I don't think that's in our jurisdiction. I think the.
No, but
the
I had
plumbing
raised the
inspector
question
is-
too, because I just had never heard of it, burying a propane tank.
I think it's fairly common.
Yeah,
It seems to be lately, yes.
lately, yeah.
We can get you an answer, Mr. Bradstreet, through
Thank you.
the building department if you'd like to hear that, but I
Yes, I
believe
would.
that's all.
It might not be, I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah,
Right,
and my guess
yeah.
is they probably make the hole, someone comes out, inspects it,
Oh, yeah,
inspects.
and again, I think if you go out there, it's not the size of a manhole cover, but it's, you know, a large dinner plate size port. So, I mean, it's not hiding, and,
Yeah, it's gonna be
to your point, I think if
Yeah.
it were to go, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna send that up.
Hopefully, yes.
Right, so I'm assuming that that's all, and again, we
We'll
have
find
not
out.
heard from the building office that there was any off-permit activities in the neighborhood, so I'm assuming everything has been to code, and that it's a very safe system that they've installed out there.
We'd like to. You'll let me know what you find
I
out.
will follow up.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the audience? Hearing none, we have a motion.
I make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 3 Holly Lane, lot number 6, DEP file number 14-1289.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, D on the agenda, request for certificate of compliance for 5 Holly Lane, DEP file number 14-1290. Who's here for the applicant?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mike Lehan with the Moore and Cameron Group. So this is the same, essentially the same request, essentially the same piece, with the approved plan as the next property down, lot 5 here. So it's really the same thing. The only notable thing is that, when the survey was performed, there was no fence at the top of the slope, so we have here this grass slope back here. And at the time of the survey, there was no fence, so the as-built plan was show no fence, but in fact, the fence was installed by the homeowner, so there is actually a fence at the top of the slope, so I wanted to mention that.
What kind of fence? Like chain link or wood?
I was just told this today.
Where does the fence occur?
So I believe one of the staff members saw it. Did you-
It's like just like your standard white vinyl fence.
Okay. And is that allowed within,
Outside
like, a
the
variation
25,
from
outside the
as-built?
35?
I mean, it's hugging the top of slope, which is outside of that.
Okay.
So you can't really put it
So like the
below.
72-foot
Right.
contour, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
And where is the 100-foot line for the,
100 foot is.
same thing with the fertilizer then?
Yeah.
Right?
It would have been a standard, it would have been in.
I think that's in all of them, yeah,
Yeah.
for this site.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to
it's
establish
like
the
along
point
the
that they're not supposed to use fertilizer.
Yep, yep.
The top of the
Dry
slope,
well
so
with
the
that,
fence behind that.
Oh, yeah.
Down, drain in the driveway again?
Same idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drain the driveway and the roof, exactly, yeah.
Okay, where are the property lines? Are they right at the top of the incline, or do they go back?
Oh, this one actually extends way back.
Oh, so this is to get their square footage,
That's how they get the area.
Yes.
okay. I have no further questions, anyone?
No.
Vanessa?
No, I don't think so.
Mike, you all set?
You all set? Yeah?
Chelsea?
Yep, I'm all set.
Staff?
Yeah, all set.
Okay, do we have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 5 Holly Lane?
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 5 Holly Lane, DEP file number 14-1290.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did want to mention earlier on the fence that this property here, we've been informed that they're also interested in installing a fence along the top here, so I wanted to just come out and let you guys know that and just see if there were concerns with that. I mean, it's something that, like I said, it's pretty benign as far as impact goes. You're not really disturbing or changing or anything.
As long as it's outside of the
It's not in
25.
25 or 35.
That's
Better
right.
not be.
Yeah, on this lot, it goes.
Is it?
35 is in the slope. The 35 is in, on lot 3, the 35 is actually inside the steep slope, take the contours. So the 25, 35, so
So where would the fence be? Outside the,
Well, outside
closer
it,
to that.
yeah.
And that house is still under construction, right? I think so. I think that's the last one.
Yeah, I think it was last one, I'm not certain. We were informed that they were interested in
Okay, so there's two other houses on the left that are occupied now. Are they moving to come forward with a certificate of compliance? That one there, and then the next
I
one?
don't think they were jurisdictional.
This one's not jurisdictional, this
Okay, that's-
one, so I think that we would be, I mean, these are the kind of first two that are coming in, and then those will be following after those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you. Moving on, E, a request for
Yes.
certificate of compliance for 7 Sandpiper Circle, DEP file number 14-1270. Who's here for the applicant?
Hi, my name's Bobby Preston, here on behalf of my wife Brittany Morton. We moved into this home in October 2017. Now, it doesn't border the wetlands, it is a big piece of the neighborhood. And being a first timer, first homeowner, you're gonna learn a lot of things along the way, certificate of compliance being one of them. So,
Now, was this part of the Whipple Hill project?
Yes, this
Yes.
is in Whipple Hill.
it's on the corner between Sandpiper Circle and Carroll West.
So just so everyone's aware, just to clarify, so this lot itself is not jurisdictional at all, and there's no stormwater structures within the lot. This was part of the overall subdivision when it was created, so the deed restriction on this gentleman's property is from the creation of the road, just so you're aware.
the road only?
It was not filed separately.
Where is it on this?
It's this one. It's at the intersection of Carroll Way and Sandpiper
Okay.
itself, right on the corner.
Okay.
So all of these down here are jurisdictional.
Right.
But this is,
But it falls well out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
and some of the other lots have drainage structures in it, this one does not.
So really, there's not much in our jurisdiction, so we're just,
It would be a partial release for this gentleman's individual lot from the overall subdivision.
okay, so we didn't do that one lot by
So
lot?
this wasn't lot by lot?
No, I think we went to that with the
Yeah,
Holly
we
Lane
did
one.
that one time, but that's not a good idea going forward.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks for the explanation,
Sure.
Dave, because I
Any
don't
questions
even remember
to add?
seeing that the other day, so I didn't really look into that one at all.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions? No, we all set? Anyone in the audience have any questions regarding this? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion, we grant certificate of compliance.
all right, I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for 7 Sandpiper Circle, lot number 12, that's DEP file number 14-1270, applicant Brittany Warden.
Thank you for your time.
Hold on.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now you-
Have a good night.
F, notice of intent for 4 Yale Street, DEP file number 14-1334. And who's here for the applicant?
Good evening, Bob Griffin again, from Griffin Engineering. The applicant's with me, Mr. Mercier in the back row. The commission may be familiar with this street because I think you guys issued an order of conditions for his neighbor's lot, 6 Yale Street, within the last year. Mr. Mercier is proposing a similar project, but, and then they both share the same wetland resource area that is behind the house. You may recall there's a stream that sort of goes parallel to Yale Street. It's an intermittent stream. So the wetland resource associated with the intermittent stream is the bank. So there's a very steep bank associated with the stream. The bank isn't really vegetated with wetland vegetation, but it obviously does qualify as a bank. So then we have offset from there our 25-foot no disturb zone running through the middle of his backyard, 35-foot no build zone also runs through his backyard. And we've got the house and the 100-foot buffer zone line in front of the house prior to getting to Yale Street there. What Mr. Mercer and his wife would like to do is to build a building addition here on the south side of the house. So this is a 2-story addition. It's primarily going to have a garage on the first floor and some living space on the second floor above the garage. And he also wants to infill this little corner of the existing house here to put in a porch. This is about in and out of the proposed garage here. The lot is pretty flat, so there's not a whole lot of earthwork needs to happen here. It will be sort of conventionally built, a poured concrete foundation and wood frame above that. We've got room on the side of the house here to do stockpiling of soil during construction. We're gonna put erosion controls around the backyard so that nothing can possibly get
It's
absorbed
pretty
in
flat,
the
isn't it?
intermittent stream. And then I would also note that we're gonna be adding a 500-gallon dry well here on the south side of the building addition here. We'll take the roof leaders from a couple of key points in the house and feed the dry well with that.
Where's the dry well?
There's a dry well just to the south of the proposed garage.
To be constructed?
That's correct. Yep. So I think that sort of summarizes our proposed work. I'd be happy to address any questions.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's the 500-gallon, how do you determine?
So what we did, we took the new impervious surfaces, which are the porch, the garage, and the little driveway strip here. That worked out to be about 1,400 square feet of impervious surfaces. We multiplied that area times 1 inch of volume, and we said, okay, that's about the size of the dry well that you need to have. So we count the dry well, we count the crushed stone that we place around the dry well, but we don't count the stone, we count the voids in the crushed stone around the dry well. And that works out to be about 1 inch of static volume, so it'll obviously handle much more than 1 inch of rainfall, because as water is entering the dry well, water is also going down into the ground. But if, just on a theoretical basis, if water didn't leave the dry well, that 1 inch of runoff from those 3 areas would add up to about the volume of the dry well and the voids and stone around.
That's based on a formula that you use, or is it an estimate?
Times the
Yeah.
impervious area. Yeah.
Does that have to pass muster with the engineering?
Technically, it does not.
Does not?
But there is something
Well-
here about the planning division wanting
I think it's a good
to
thing
talk
do
about the
when
cut
we're trying to
curb.
implement most projects, and,
Yes.
you're right, it's not a stormwater management
Yeah.
guideline kind of
Okay.
project because it's a small addition to a single-family residence, but we're happy to do this.
Now, the porch, is that just, that's bare ground now?
There's a planting bed in front of the Mercier's house right now.
Okay, that's gonna be impervious now, it'll be runoff then. One quick question, I'm not sure if it even matters, but I've never heard of, that's Frost Fish Brook, correct?
What?
The brook is Frost Fish Brook?
I don't know what the name is.
I think this is a tributary too. I think this flows, on this image, I think
it's
this is
intermittent.
flowing from right to left. It appears to be then culverted, and I'm guessing it connects to Frost Fish somewhere under the Burley Street ball field.
The question I was starting to ask was that I've never heard of that being an intermittent stream, but it sounds like this is a separate stream, which is fine.
Well,
So
yeah,
this
and
street is
if you look
actually
at
north
the
of
USGS map, you
Woodville,
can see,
this section that you don't have.
It's on there?
well, so here's the house, right? Here's a little stream behind the house, which eventually
Where's
feeds.
the house?
Right,
Red square.
right. So this eventually feeds Frost. That's our house, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
is that the stream you're
It
talking
is.
about?
Yeah, and so the other thing that we did is we checked the size of the watershed tributary to that point. It's less
That's
than
the
1/2
house.
square mile, so by definition, under the riverfront
That's
regulations,
Frost
it's an
Fish.
intermittent
So it
stream.
does feed.
I also think that you treated it as an intermittent stream in the notice of intent for the abutting property.
Now, does it feed frost fish, or does it
It eventually
come,
does,
gets,
yeah.
or does water come off frost fish to create
Well,
that?
this goes towards.
It does?
Frost.
Okay.
That's a tongue twister.
I know.
Certainly
Hard to
is.
say that.
3 times fast.
And you're all set for erosion controls?
Right, we got
Yeah.
that around the back and,
Yeah, just for clarification, because staff's here and they're so helpful, it doesn't meet muster with stormwater, but where this is a residential property, it's not really required to.
I can't say if it does or it doesn't. It's just not under review by the engineering division. So
Yeah,
it very well may be fine. It may capture everything that Bob's saying and
yeah.
even do a better job than he's explained, but I don't know.
I mean, but he could have come in without even that.
It wouldn't be reviewed by engineering, I can say that.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah, so.
The staff, oh, sorry.
What was the other project on your street? Was it to the left or to the right of this?
to the right as you're looking at it, I think it's number 6.
Okay.
Mill Street.
And that's all done, right? I think they came here.
They're
for
they're
compliance.
wrapping it up. They still have some erosion control
So-
installed, but.
You said Mr. Mercy is doing something similar to what the neighbor did? So did they also create something similar to that system you're showing us?
I don't think so, actually.
You want it closer?
No?
Well, we'd like to.
But you do it as what, a best practice, or what?
But just so you know.
I want to make the commission's happy.
All right.
Right,
But the other applicant didn't do it?
I don't think so.
No?
I'm not 100% sure.
what's that? I'm sorry,
Saying that
Was
the
there a
project
dry well at
next to
6?
is very similar. They didn't do a dry well.
I didn't look that closely.
Maybe they did downspouts, or who knows?
I just don't remember seeing a drywall on the plan. I did look at the plan. and-
You did? Yeah. Well, okay, so we got a dry well.
Any reason why your erosion control is right along the edge of the bank?
Yeah, just so that it, doesn't interfere with their use of the backyard. So we're basically, this is lawn and planting beds right now, and so I think we put it in a location where it'll do the job, but it also won't interfere with the Mercier's enjoyment of the backyard.
What does that look like to look at it?
I mean, they got a nice yard.
No, no, what
The
is,
dry well. He's
the
the
dry
one
well, what does that look like to look at?
This is a little section of it, but it's buried, and that's a concrete rectangular frame.
You see that?
No, it'll just be lawn when you're done.
You just see lawn, that's what I thought,
It's
yeah.
buried,
Did
We have a,
bring that erosion control up? I know,
Yeah.
I understand you want the
It would
enjoyment
be-
of the yard,
It
but I
would be
think we just wanna
temporary, it
keep,
wouldn't be forever,
yeah,
Right.
just
Right.
minimize the
Erosion
chances
control.
of
Sediment-
material
with the
getting to the
sediment
river.
we'd prefer it at the 35-foot line and wrap it around any
So here,
intersecting structures.
And then
You'd have to probably go out around the,
around the coop in the shed.
yeah.
Okay.
And when is the timing of construction?
He'd love to
Where do
go
you
right
wanna
away
see
if
it?
we can.
At the
Alright, so-
35,
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
don't have to go
Oh,
out.
your flowers are gonna be gone anyways, right?
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay, do we,
Probably shorter
do we incorporate that in
Yeah.
the,
then come
Certificate.
around.
You could add it to the,
Yeah.
if you're
look at
gonna,
the-
if the motion's going to be made, yeah.
okay. Any other questions from anybody?
What's up?
I have a question.
One sec.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Is staff happy with the location of the dry well? Do we wanna try to pull it more towards the front corner of the house, just to get somewhat closer to, I don't think it's really feasible to put it outside the 100-foot.
No, I mean,
Just for distance, but even to pull
Yeah.
it closer to the corner of the house, the front corner, is that,
It's not built yet, right?
What's the
No, but,
advantage of that?
What we're trying to do is we're picking up the downspout here and picking up a downspout here, and obviously the further we put it away from either of those downspouts, the harder it is to actually get the water to flow into there.
Well, one gets longer, but one gets shorter,
Exactly, right.
but the other one gets shorter.
Yeah.
Right.
It should equal out. Is there,
I think this is an area where we're gonna be digging anyways, and so I think it's a sensible place to put it. And I don't think there's any real, advantage to the recharge to the stream by moving it forward.
what are
Right.
you thinking? Just 'cause of the 100, get it
Um,
further?
I think our only concern
How
is
much
that it
ex-
be outside of the 50, I mean, I know it's not a line shown, but I mean, I think you gotta stay out of the 50, but.
It is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I know,
no,
I'm
we're
just
just
saying,
saying
so we
that
didn't
was the-
comment on it at
Yeah.
the staff level, cause
Okay.
it's out of 50,
Right.
so.
How much excavation will there be? Is this just a slab floor?
Well, a frost-proof foundation, so around the perimeter, and then there will be a little bit of excavation for a garage slab, you're right.
So you're gonna go down 4 feet for the footing?
Frost wall, yes.
So what are your plans to do with the excavated material?
Stockpile in the side yard. And obviously use as much of it as is necessary for backfill, and then remove the rest.
Okay.
Keep it covered?
were there any comments from the town engineer's office?
We've not received any at this time.
we did not receive any.
We do have a note that any changes to the proposed dry well be run by engineering before incorporated into the plan.
Changes to what's proposed?
Yeah.
Are
Just if
they
there's any
is that
basically we just-
anticipated? Why would they make that note?
If there's any in-the-field changes, we just wanna know about it
Ah.
before it's done.
Before it's,
We've been dealing
not
with.
after the fact?
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
been,
before it's
we're trying to
backfilled.
get, trying to
Yeah.
turn that around a little bit.
Who comes out to look at that before it's closed up?
We do rock, paper, scissors. rock, paper, scissors for who gets
You
that.
do? All right.
But we got new staff, so
I gotta
maybe-
stop picking paper.
Okay, any other questions? Chelsea, you had your question answered?
Yeah.
Oh. What's that, Vanessa?
Yeah,
Mike, I don't have to ask, because you just go ahead.
What do I do? Oh, yes.
Any comments from the
I'll refrain
audience?
from that.
Okay, I'll to make a motion to issue a certificate of,
actually, are there gonna be some special conditions that we wanna itemize? For example, like doing the sediment and erosion controls at the 35-foot
Right.
instead of the, as
Yeah.
proposed
Put it in
on
your
the plan?
motion.
Oh, okay, well,
Right, Peter?
so for everything in the memo, are
I
we
was gonna say
doing
that,
all of
yeah.
those for special conditions?
Thank you.
So it
Stole
would
from
be-
Mark.
Yeah,
A pre-construction meeting, and then any changes to the proposed dry well, and then, changing the location of the erosion controls.
So you're gonna make a motion?
Sure, why not? All right, I'll make a
Should
motion,
formulate.
to issue an order of conditions for, 4 Yale Street, DP file number 14-1334, with the special conditions, that the commission requires a pre-construction meeting with the planning division to review sediment and erosion control measures in the field, that the commission will require any changes to the proposed dry well requested by engineering staff be incorporated into the plan, and that until the site has been stabilized, the sediment and erosion controls they'll be established at the 35-foot no disturb, instead of as shown on the plan.
And I'll second.
is that agreeable? You good with that? So the motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, G, notice of intent, public hearing for 305R Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1332. Who's here for the applicant?
Yeah, I'm not here for the applicant, I was
okay, I was just checking, see if you, so, sorry about that. Earlier today, we received by written correspondence, request to continue items G, H,
And I.
and I, which are the house lots at 303-333 Maple Street, and a request to waive the 21-day time period for,
Waiver extend,
Extend, right?
sorry.
no, that's okay, I'm just trying to read what he wrote. I'll just read it. On behalf of the applicant, I authorize an extension of the 21-day time period to
Yeah.
issue an order of conditions from the date of the public hearing for the roadway approval until October 10th, 2019. The purpose of this extension is to allow time to resolve the ongoing right-of-way easement discussion, adjust the plans to reflect 2.5 to 1 mitigation ratio requested by the commission, and also to provide a formal response to Mass DEP comments for the road.
They wanted 2 to 1.
So
Okay.
they would like to extend on all counts.
Okay, so I need to go through each one and continue?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so G, notice of intent for 305R Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1332. Could we have a motion to extend to our October the 10th meeting?
I make a motion that we grant the applicant's request to extend the 21-day out to include the next meeting date, which is
October 10th.
October 10th of 2019.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. H, notice of intent for 303 to 309, 305R, 313R Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1333. I'd like to hear a motion to continue to our October the 10th meeting.
I'll make a motion to continue, item H, DP file number 14-1333 to our next meeting,
Can we
October
just note
10th.
we're granting the applicant's request?
Yes.
Yeah, as stated, yeah.
Okay, a motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I, notice of intent for 303 to 309, 313R Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1331. Like to hear a motion to continue this to our October the 10th meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue to our next hearing, the notice of intent for 303 through 309, 313 R Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1331. Continue to our next meeting.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
So, all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're gonna grant, also granting the applicant's request for the extension, right?
Yeah, to DEP file number
Because
0141.
there's critical times involved here.
Correct,
For the waiver,
Yeah.
right?
for the extension of the roadway.
Okay.
Here's the file number if you'd like.
So this is another one, how
This
we're
is-
wording
This is for the the extension of the 21-day action deadline to November 10th for the previously voted on roadway.
Okay, so for DEP file number 14-1330, we'd like to authorize an extension of the 21-day time period for the order of
That was
conditions
part of the
already issued
original
and
motion.
the waiver until our October the 10th meeting. I guess I made the motion. So the motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Yeah, our next meeting, we'll discuss whether the chairman can make a motion.
Do you want me to forward this to you?
sure. Next up is minutes.
We do not,
I didn't see 'em.
any
we do not
minutes.
have minutes
Okay.
in this packet.
It was a
sorry about
long
that.
meeting,
No
so.
minutes, all right. Anything to
Yes,
sign, Alicia? Nothing to sign?
Well, we haven't adjourned
Yeah,
yet.
okay, just asking.
Older, new business?
I would've run out.
I just have
Go ahead.
one, actually, go ahead, Vanessa.
No, you go first, that's fine.
All right, my question is, I'd like to have staff go to town council and just verify the voting, how am I want to put this in words? If it's a simple majority of the members present, or if it's got to be a majority of the total members of the commission in order to issue a variance.
Okay,
If we could just get a council's opinion on that, please.
sure.
Yeah, I think I raised that some time ago when we
Right,
went from 7
last
to
meeting.
5, a 7-member to 5-member, and I think it was a simple majority of the quorum, not of the numbers, because you're thinking it would have to be
Right.
3 out of...
I'm still questioning because Aaron always said when there was just 3 of us here, it had to be unanimous. So I just would like to hear it from the town council.
Hmm.
We can double back. We've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of
You're
weeks.
thinking there's a distinction because of the variance, when we request a
But
variance?
that was just one vote, but any vote. You know, normally we are unanimous, but in that particular instance, we weren't. So,
Yep, we can
so
absolutely get a response.
let's get an opinion on
Yep, sure.
that. Anything else, Vanessa?
Yes. So as you all know, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I did watch it all eventually. It took me multiple attempts on my commute, watching it, 20-minute chunks, but
Not while you're driving.
no, on the commuter rail. So I just was really surprised it got voted on at all. I feel like there was a lot more information that we should have or could have asked for.
You talking about Beaver Brook?
I am, the roadway. I think there was like a couple particular things that stood out to me that were opportunities to get more information that didn't happen. For example, Aaron, I thought, was very clear that this is like a very complex, involved project, perhaps outside the ability of the current staff to handle, in addition to being short-staffed, also needing strong Wetlands Protection Act input on it. So, Aaron brought up the idea of doing peer review, and nobody seemed to respond
No,
to
that wasn't raised.
It
Well,
was.
Well, not voted on.
I know, but he brought it up, and then nobody said
No,
anything.
but I mean, nobody made a motion, nobody said, I'll entertain a motion to, submit to peer review, and then what, we did get a continuance, but it's too late now.
Well, that's my point. Nobody said anything.
no.
He brought it up, and it just kind of moved on to the next topic. So
Well,
I
there was
think that
some
was,
discussion of peer review. They had, what's the other, Meridian had looked at some of the.
We summarized the peer review of when we had the roadway done under the planning board process. We had a peer review by
Right.
Meridian, and they had noted in their review that they thought, although we had not asked them to do that, because that was not the charge for the planning board, but they noted that they thought that the stormwater system should be reviewed.
So, and that's just one example of what I thought was an opportunity to get a lot more information than what we currently had. Also, I spent a lot of time going over the project and I submitted written comments and David did read them aloud.
Yeah.
But then the applicant was not even asked to respond to the comments. It was like they were read aloud and then just moved on to the next thing. So, the comments I had were to get more information. I had, comments about the stormwater system. I feel like we have very few details on that. And it's very involved. There's a lot going on for what they propose for stormwater management, and I feel like we really don't have a lot of information on it whatsoever. And that was one of my comments. And then the other one was, Peter, I did feel that you were expressing concern about the amount of roadway that was not only in the wetland itself, but within the 25-foot buffer. But my other comment was where they were proposing the replication area, they're not showing adjusted buffers there. They left it the same 25 and same 35 for the original wetlands. So then I feel like the portion of road that's going to be in a new 25-foot is not even accounted for what we were discussing. So just from, I wasn't there and, I'm seeing everything after the fact, but I feel like there were a lot of opportunities to gather a lot more information than what we currently had that kind of were missed opportunities. So I just kind of wanted to let everybody know that I felt that it was not ready for a vote, but
You weren't not able to be here?
no, I was away.
In a situation like that, is it possible to continue a hearing? I mean, is it something you would have wanted to be here for?
I mean, yeah, because I wasn't satisfied with the level of information.
Yeah.
And I did watch the entire hearing, the 2 hours and 20 minutes. And still through that whole hearing, I wanted more information on certain aspects. But I wasn't there, so, I don't know that I can request it be continued because I'm absent. But on the other hand, just from my point of view, I feel like we could have gotten a lot more information before having a vote. And
Well, I suppose, why couldn't somebody as chair, make a motion to continue because we feel it's so important, we want the full board here, right?
Mm.
You could do that.
Can we? We voted to grant a waiver.
No.
No, we're gonna go back and say, that we're changing our minds?
No, I'm saying in the future, if someone says, no, this is such an important project, we should have the full board present, then, and they weren't, you could always move to continue. I mean, assuming the applicant doesn't
In the
jump
future,
up and
but in this
down.
particular case.
Yeah, so maybe,
Well, the other.
that's your
you know,
point, really, right?
Yeah, and nothing can be done about what already,
Yeah.
what happened, but, and then,
Well, I think there is precedent to reopen something, but there has to be something that was not known or some change that's something staff would look into, I think, but there is precedent for that.
Yep, we can certainly check into that,
Mm.
absolutely.
We did receive, and that was, for better or for worse, it was one of those kind of no good deed goes unpunished, because I think literally the next day, we received the comments from DEP on all of those projects. The three house
On all of the
lots
NOIs, yeah, for this project.
and the roadway. So again, that's, David and I have been trying to figure out now with what do we do with this information, because
So we had
DEP's not
Not satisfied,
not satisfied, so.
So we didn't have that information when we voted.
correct.
So we are looking into how do we, and if, again, we're not saying the commission must, but we wanna understand procedurally, can it reopen the hearing? What are the parameters? If
revisit
it
it.
does that,
Yeah,
If the changes are so substantial that the
Yeah,
plan
I think-
changes,
yeah.
When will those be published?
we can send them to you. We receive them, the applicant, I mean, I don't think anything's happened yet.
You
We-
got them
we
the
received
next
them.
day?
It might have been a little after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to be more in tune to these things that,
So we will do a little bit more digging just to figure it out.
Procedurally, we'll determine, yeah, we'll figure out how to,
Just a further, is there any more news on the conditions that the planning board had spelled out?
sure, Mr. Henry, would you like to take that? We had a lengthy discussion today with
Yeah.
town council about that.
Yeah, we had a meeting with the applicant's attorneys, our attorney. So they agreed, the short of it would be, the first point was that they agreed that the town does have rights in the original paper way that's out there. And, as such, they will have to modify their subdivision plan to basically move houses out of the way. So two of the lots that you would have seen tonight have to be modified. So in part, not only because of DEP comments, but also because of that, the applicant really could not have moved forward tonight because they're showing two houses in a right-of-way that we have rights in that we have not extinguished.
Is this moving the right of way as a result? Is it gonna be relocated again?
It's quite possible that's an outcome, but not at the moment, that's, there's a
At some
number
point
of
in the
ways they
future.
could try to get themselves out of
Yeah.
where they're at.
There's multiple ways to remedy the situation that they're in, but I think suffice it to say that the houses they were proposing on the NOIs look like they will be further into jurisdictional area, which
Oh,
is why we continued this evening, because there'd be no point to hear them if next week they're gonna be deeper into the buffer areas.
well, then I'm wondering whether, by motion, you can we could undo what we did and start over.
Again, we'll look into
We're
how you
looking at
actually do
Well, I
that.
wonder with this right away, is that gonna change their whole plan?
Well,
Would
and
that-
that's
would
the other piece
would
of
allow
that.
them to
That's,
pull that
Maybe
wall
that was
back?
part of David and I's larger frustration with
You
the
know, I feel
project
bad
was
now
that
because you said all
by
that stuff.
taking
I
it
was
in
saying,
these
gee, maybe I should
bite-sized
have been more.
pieces,
Maybe I should have
they're
been
getting
tougher.
approvals along the way, but then at some point you have to have a complete reconciliation between this board, that board, and DEP and all of and at the end of the day,
Am I taking yours?
amending the road, if DEP causes them to move the road a little bit to accommodate a stormwater system, they're right back here anyway. So we've kind of been constantly stressing to them that, let's do it all, once you know what you can do, then file. I mean, again, these NOIs, and we've seen this in just the few months, they tell us it's a box, that's not the house they're gonna build, period. We've seen it up at Whipple Hill, it's like, that's not the house they're gonna build. So we've gotta do a better job of making sure that those folks, like, you come to the Conservation Commission when you know what you want to build. You don't come to the Conservation Commission with, I'm thinking about putting a house in this location. This is the house I'm building, so, it's been a source of frustration, and we're trying to deal with this on the fly with this very complicated, project. And so we'll see, again, I would expect you to have more from us over the next 2 weeks and, hopefully some resolution. We'll give you the options and then you'll do with that information as you wish.
Okay.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right.
I'm glad we talked that out a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, anyone have anything else? Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Motion's been made, is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,